You guys are in for a special treat this morning. I know you love when I have special guests on here to interview, so just wait and see what I've got for you this morning. My name is Amy Gill. I am your pharmacist that cares. So I always like to bring guests in that we can talk about health and wellness related topics. And what affects your health and wellness more than the stress of finances and the stress of debt? This is my good friend that I'm going to bring on today. I've met her through networking. I listened to her speak last week and I said, you know what? I have got to get you on this live. You have to be on here to talk to a bigger audience because I know that finances and the stress of debt is affecting so many of you out there. And if it's not you, it's somebody you definitely know. So this morning, I would love to welcome Mary Bibb with Debt Free is the Way to Be. And she is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to finances, how to get out of debt, and different approaches that she goes about it. I just love listening to her talk the other day. 10 minutes in our networking group was definitely not enough. I think I could have a couple hours, if not more, of listening to Mary. So, Mary, thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Oh, thank you, Amy. Such a great welcome. I so enjoyed my time last week.
Well, everybody was so engaged during the networking meeting and they were listening to you, they were hanging on what you were saying. And if it wasn't for them, it was for somebody that they know. So I just really want to dive in. I mean, when I'm saying about finances and I know people are, listening saying, wow, that's me, or that was me at one time, or I don't want that to be me. So let's just start off with what's your approach? Because the thing is with some people, they're embarrassed, right? They're embarrassed that they're in this situation. So that probably is the first thing, is getting people to actually reach out to you. So, once they reach out to you, what's your approach? How do you go about this to make them feel at ease and comfortable? Because like I said, this is a big embarrassing topic for a lot of people that they've gotten in this situation.
Amy, that was me. I was the mom with the mortgage, the car payment, the student loan payment, the 401k loan, so many credit cards. There was at least one payment due every week, and it was stressful. And so we went through this program and binge watched it before binge watching was cool. And I felt God telling me to do this. And so it took me 10 years because I don't always listen so well, but I did. And when you talk about how people get shame and feeling like you're less than, first thing that people feel. And I try to tell my clients and everybody that judgment is the last thing you get from me, because I've been there, I've done that. But I overcame, and now I help other people, because it does feel shame. But there's also no reason to feel shame. We've all been there. We have normalized debt so much in our society that everybody says you can get a loan on a pet, but why would you? I don't. Not that you shouldn't have pets, but think of what's the greater good. So the way I approach my clients is there's no judgment for me over anything. And I like to get to know them. So when somebody comes to me for help, the first thing I do is we talk. We often don't talk about numbers and finances until the second or third meeting, because I want them to be comfortable with me. And I feel like getting to know the person and getting to know their goals and what they want to achieve is more important than anything. And so my first few sessions, sometimes it takes a while to get into where they're comfortable enough with me to go over numbers. We play a
Definitely,
get to know
because
you
they
game,
have to trust you, right, before they're
right?
going to open up, and that's
Mm-hmm.
that's what we talk about all the time. But seeing that with you, and you do have a health and wellness background too, that I think helps with that caring and trust as well.
Yep. I am a nurse, and my passion is to walk alongside people and help them realize that they are empowered when they get their finances under control. It's what motivates me.
And
So
it's I think something that people have to constantly work at.
oh,
Even,
absolutely.
even once they get to the point that, things are moving in the right direction,
Hmm.
it's always something that they have to work on, right?
Exactly.
You know, you
Exactly.
you mentioned about taking the loan out on the pet. I think what really got me on Friday, and Jeremy that was the next to me goes, "Okay, that's crazy to take a loan out for Domino's to get a pizza." And then he looked at me, he said, "Okay, if you're at that point, there's a real problem." But I think that, but there's a problem before it gets to that point.
Mhm.
But honestly, if you get to that point, how do you, let's say that is the person, right? That
Mhm.
comes to you and they are so desperate. They are seriously taking a loan out to eat, to do that. Where do what are the strategies, the tools in your toolbox to get them to stick to that budget or even find a way to even get to the point of having a budget?
It all starts with organization. There's a lot of my clients, I will give them the challenge to go for the next 30 days and write, and before they go to bed at night, write down what they spent that day, be it the bill, be it a coffee run, be it whatever, but write it down because that awareness is key. I've had clients, I gave this challenge to a couple clients, and they've come back to me and said, I actually didn't do what I wanted to do because I didn't want to have to write it down. And it's that awareness because when you use a swipe, you don't feel it. When you give cold hard cash and that leaves your hand, that makes you go ouch. And some people won't do that ouch. So it is the being aware and it is being in control and realizing. Abe Lincoln said the definition of discipline is sacrificing what you want now for what you want in the future. So when you're swiping that card for that McDonald's trip or that Starbucks trip, you're affecting your future. That's the easiest way to blow over $1,000 a year is on Starbucks. Now, if you have that money and you have that set aside for a Starbucks run, absolutely. But being aware of where your dollars are going and deciding you want to control where they go instead of wondering where they went, is key.
I think that's so powerful. And I think that that has become a problem for the last so many years when places won't take cash anymore. Because
Mm-hmm.
I know of a lot of people that did that. They would have
Mm-hmm.
like an envelope, right? Or whatever
Mm-hmm.
kind of little thing they would have. And
Mm-hmm.
they knew what they could spend for the week. And
Mm-hmm.
when they were out, they were out. Well,
Mm-hmm.
when places stop taking cash, it's very easy to swipe the credit card,
It
right?
is. It
But
is.
now I've noticed places are back to taking cash. Like I'm starting to carry cash again because, because of the credit card fees, you get a
Mm-hmm.
discount. Well, you know what? I mean, yes, I get points on my credit card and that's great.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
if I got the cash there, I don't have to worry about, taking care of it at the end of the month because it's already taken care of,
Yeah.
because I've just paid the cash for it. So I've started to carry cash again,
Mm-hmm.
just for those reasons. And I think that really is a great tool now that places are going back that you can probably pull back out of your toolbox where maybe you had to put it away for a little bit because it wasn't an option.
Correct. You are correct. And yes, exactly right. Because I'm doing the same thing. I used to go once a month and fund our envelopes. I was an envelope carrier for a long time. Fund our envelopes once a month. The people at the bank knew me. I come in the first Friday of the month and fund all the envelopes. And I got a little sad when I had to do the swiping. But I like the fact that they're taking cash again now because there's really no better feeling than knowing that's not going to follow me home. We took our whole family to Hawaii last year. I came home with two future son-in-laws and a trip that was already paid for before we went. That credit card didn't follow me home. That credit card statement does not follow me in January. That kind of stuff is huge on your psyche to know that that is paid off. You don't have to stress over the credit card statement coming the next month.
Absolutely. And you're right. People do have so many credit cards. And it's easy when it's this reward and that reward, and the rewards are great.
Sure,
But you
sure,
also have to be able to know what goes, and I always tell the boys, whatever goes on there has to be paid when it's due, or it
right,
doesn't go on there. I mean, do
right.
I love, the Disney points and the airline miles? And of course,
Hmm.
but we're not going to stick something on there just to buy it. We know we can cover it when the end of the month, or whenever it comes due.
Correct.
But I think
Like
those are very enticing things to people.
they absolutely are. And it's like once the kids turn 18, then they start getting on the slew of credit card applications in the mail, or when they're at the college campus. Hey, sign up for this credit card and get this T-shirt. Do you know how much a T-shirt is going to cost? Nobody thinks about that.
Exactly, exactly. That is so true. We were chatting about this earlier about finances, what it can do to relationships, to
Hmm.
marriages.
Hmm. Oh yeah, number one cause of divorce. It is the biggest reason that people stay in jobs they hate because they're under so much debt that if they miss that day of work and they don't have any vacation to use, they incur, oh, I missed the day of work, so I don't get paid. And then this bill is due, but I can't pay that. And then I'm going to incur the late fees and the extra interest, and it all piles up. It's just such a weight on your psyche. And being on the other side of that is such a breath of fresh air and such a lift.
So how do you help people get this budget? How do you help them stick to it? How do you help them be accountable? Because, you know, it's easy, we've all done it. We talk big, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
going to do this, we're going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the excitement or the newness or whatever wears off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like working out, right? You're like all
Yeah.
excited, right? But it wears off. So
Yeah.
what do you do? Because that's going to be the biggest key for something like this is
Mm-hmm.
sticking to it and keeping them accountable. So what do you do to help them do that?
Typically, I meet with my clients 1 to 2 times a month. Sometimes people need a more intensive. I've had clients where I've met weekly for a little while until they get kind of the footing, and then they get to where they are able to do that. And then we move into monthly. And then when you get on a really good trajectory and you've got everything paid off and you're ready to invest and you're starting to go doing stuff like that, then we change it to quarterly, semi-annual, or annually. Sometimes I'm like the physician you need to see once a year just to make sure you're still on track. It is so important to have this outside accountability, especially if you are someone who is single, who doesn't have an accountability partner. Having a coach in your corner is going to stretch you. And I've had clients say, well, how long do I have you? You have me for as long as you have goals, because you've always got a goal to reach. We humans need goals or we become stagnant. And so I keep, we might not meet often, but it's always such a help, that coach in your corner wants to be there. It's just a sounding board.
And I think that's true. Everybody needs that, whether it's a workout
Mm-hmm.
partner, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
whatever it needs, the
Exactly.
accountability, is
Mm-hmm.
somebody that's going to be there and to have that,
Mm-hmm.
appointment or whatever it is that it's on their calendar, you're going to have to check in. And are you
Right.
staying true to what you said you were going to be doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm sure you have lots of good stories, but everybody loves stories about something. I mean, I know you told us a little bit about yourself, but
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, I think people can really relate to these. I always think so. Do you have
Mm-hmm.
a one or two stories of a huge
Oh,
success that you'd love
absolutely.
to share?
I guess my coaching career started 30 years ago when my niece and I went to nursing school together. And she came to me and she's like, Aunt Mary, all these bills, there's so many of them. I just don't know what to do. And I said, just bring them over. We laid them all out on the living room floor and we got her organized. And the girl's been debt free and in control for years and is teaching her kids that. And then, so that was when I was doing it informally. The more recent ones, I have a ton of those too. One of my clients, who's my regular, we were talking one night and they said, you know, before I started talking to you, I would have never thought that I could be debt free. It was not how I grew up. We were unhomed several times because the rent couldn't be paid. And now I realize that I can be in control and I can reach my goals. And it is so helpful to have the sounding board just to sit and talk. You know, it's a client relationship, but it's more like two friends getting together and talking every once in a while because that's what I become. Yes, I'm the coach, but I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money. I'm going to make you see different ways. And so you make different choices. You go, oh, you know what? I don't want to do that. And that's what a good coach does. We're not going to tell you what to do. You're all grown people, but we're going to help you realize and think to yourself, am I making the best decision? Am I making the most appropriate decision to affect my future?
And I think even just by not telling them, but making them kind of
Mm-hmm.
say it out loud what they're doing with their
Mm-hmm.
money,
Mm-hmm.
um, that is helpful, right?
Mm-hmm.
When
Sure.
you're talking about the Starbucks, the McDonald's,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I always, have these conversations with people that, they don't have the money to, be healthy. Well, do you have the funds to be unhealthy? Because that's what you're exactly the road you're going down,
Exactly.
and that's exactly what you're trying to get them to help with the
Mm-hmm.
stress because being in this, so far in credit card debt. I mean, I don't know about you, but if you turn on the radio, like, I mean, at least the satellite radio is what we listen to, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how many commercials are, if you owe $50,000 or more in credit card debt, I don't remember what, but that, that it
Right.
starts that way, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, or if you owe, 5,000, 10,000, whatever the, in taxes,
Yeah.
these commercials are on constantly. And
Constantly.
I am telling you, I think it's almost every time there's a commercial break, I hear at least one, if not
Mm-hmm.
two
Mm-hmm.
of these
Oh,
commercials.
absolutely.
So this is a service that is needed. I mean, everybody out there could cut expenses somewhere of things they do
Mm-hmm.
not need, right?
Mm. I had a client who was using payday loans to pay their bills. And they were in intensive. We met weekly for several months until they got to the point where they were able to reorganize things and have different ideas and were able to come under control. They paid those payday loans off. But it took getting organized and having somebody speak into you and encourage you. That's what I am too. I'm an encourager. I'm going to celebrate your little wins because I feel like that is so important. You can't be just beat under debt without somebody to encourage you for what you're doing right. So important.
And I think it's important to let your children know as they're
Mm-hmm.
little, bring them into it. I mean, you don't want to worry them that you're not going to have a home to live in. I don't mean like
No,
bring the stress of that,
no,
but you need to show them the value of money. You need them to realize where things go, and it's not just a swipe of the credit card, right? It's not magic. Somebody
right,
has to pay that. One of us pays that at
right,
the end of the month.
right.
But I think it is so important that they know the value of that. Or, when you're out and about, let them, they don't need both things. Let them choose. They need to choose between which do they want more.
Mm-hmm.
And we have these conversations. We make sure when they look things up, they know how much it costs,
Right.
and they realize how long it takes to make whatever that costs. I think that's making it a reality for them. I think is important
Yeah.
because they need to know those things because you want them to be responsible adults. You want to give them those tools, right? As a parent, you want to fill their toolbox with those
Correct.
important things, right? Because
Correct.
that's otherwise you just don't want to keep going down that road of we're just going to get a loan. We're going to get a loan. We're going to get a loan for a pizza and we're going to get a loan on our pet. And, we're going to do these things. And it just becomes this vicious cycle of, so I think and you talked about too, about your kids. And I think that's important,
Yes.
that you teach them that.
I always brag on my middle child, and I can brag on her more because today is her birthday.
Oh,
But
yay.
I know, but when she was younger, she came to me and she's like, Mom, I want to go do this with my friends. And I said, okay, how are you going to pay for that? You don't have a job. And she was like, thought. And I said, well, you can borrow from dad. And she's like, oh, okay. And then it was like, yeah, I want to borrow. I want to borrow. I want to borrow. And that's her sitting there. Um, and then we finally went to her one day and we said, oh, honey, the bank of mom and dad is closed. We're calling in your note. The eyes. Oh my gosh. What do you mean I have to pay this back? Girl has since bought 2 cars for cash and has a healthy bank account. She knows how to handle her money. And that, it warms my heart. Just warms my heart.
I mean, how many other people her age have done that?
Right.
You can probably count on one hand. I mean, no, I mean, seriously though. I mean, really, the percentage is so small,
It is.
you know, at her young age that
Hmm.
she's bought the 2 cars for cash. I mean, who does
Yeah.
that? You know,
Right.
not a lot of people do that, especially a
Yeah.
younger person, you know, and has money in the bank. She's not living paycheck to paycheck. And it's
Hmm.
because of what you instilled in her,
Hmm.
you know, even though, you know, of course you were never going to call in the loan,
No.
but you made her realize what the value, you know, and to do the things around the house, you know, whether it's put
Hmm.
away or
Yeah.
clean clothes or do the clothes or whatever it was, you
Right.
know, those things that really look at what it did for her. That was huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
That.
She was,
I love that story because I think that really, I mean, definitely proud of her. Like I said, and happy birthday
oh,
to her
absolutely.
today.
Yeah. Yeah. She'll be so excited.
So I know we flashed up your calendar for people to reach out. What,
Hmm.
because I know people are thinking, oh my gosh, I want to reach out to her, but
Hmm.
again, it's that making that first phone call, right?
Sure.
Doing
Sure.
that. So how can they do it? And obviously, I mean, I'm hoping by listening to you here, they
Hmm.
realize what a sweet, caring person you are, and you're somebody that
Aw.
they can just talk to, you know.
Yeah.
And that's so. Tell me, you know, give them an idea of what the best approach is to how to get a hold of you and how they can start this process.
They can email me at Mary is debt free is the way to be. Mary at debtfreeisthewaytobe.com. Or Manny has my website up there, and there should be a link on there that you can get on my calendar. Or I can be reached at 636-542-8171. And I will definitely get back in touch. I'm more than happy to talk to anybody. My Obviously my first consultation is free because it's kind of hard to think that I may not be somebody's cup of tea, but I'm not for everybody. But and that's the get to know you phase.
Well, and they do have to get to know you. I think that
Right,
that's part of it because they're trusting you with a lot. I mean, they are
right.
like opening up their bank account is, you know, just it's very personal.
It is.
Um, and
That's why I say, Amy, that's why we don't talk numbers for a couple, because if the first time I meet somebody saying, let me see your bank account, let me know your numbers, is like saying, hey, I just met you, show me your underwear. Too personal.
that's funny. I was just when I was thinking about you before you said that, I was thinking about, you know, how personal that might could be like opening up your underwear drawer. That's exactly what I thought too, because
Right.
that's what it. I mean, this is huge. This
It
is
is a
huge.
big deal. And I want people to know, I want to reiterate that there's no judgment. I have been there, I have done that. It sucked. But I'm on the other side of it. And there's no better feeling because reach I get to be generous in my giving. I get to participate in the charity events I want to do. I get to give my money where I want. I get to take my family on vacation to Hawaii.
But those are all, and but like you said, you've been on the other side, and I think that's
Yes,
what makes you so relatable,
yeah,
that
yeah.
you know that you're not judging them. You just want to help them
Mm-mm,
get where you are, you
yeah,
know, and it's a process and it's a
it
continued
is.
process,
Yeah.
right?
It didn't
Um,
happen overnight, and it's not going to take overnight to get out of it. Typically, a person to go from being in debt to getting out of debt, except for their house, takes anywhere from 18 to 24 months with a plan and being tenacious and being focused and having that coach in your corner who celebrates the small wins with you and is there to encourage.
Absolutely. And there are those small wins. Maybe it's
Mm-hmm.
not going through the drive-through, right? Maybe
Right,
it's making your own cup of coffee at home for, you know, it tastes better, it's healthier, and it costs like 50 cents, you know, if you
right.
buy, you know, and it's those things, you know, it's
Mm-hmm.
those little wins that are a big deal. Take the reusable water bottle. There is no reason people buy the plastic water bottles.
Right.
Those little things are
Yes.
just little wins, but they can have such big impact when you add it all up.
Yeah. My one client who was using the payday loans, he was stopping at the gas station 5 or 6 times a day. And so we talked through that. And he was so excited to tell me that he went from stopping 5 times one day to only stopping 3 times the next day. I'm like, baby steps is how you do that. You can't do cold turkey
Mm-mm.
sometimes. So what you're doing is you're building on these small habits you're building, and you're going to be able to take that into the future.
Absolutely. That's just huge. That's
Mm-hmm.
just huge. I mean, Mary, we could go on and on forever,
Yeah, we
but is there
could.
is there any, I know, because this is such an important topic. Is there anything else before we close out today besides, of course, all the information is going to be in here, guys. So I know Mary told you her number, her website, how to get a hold of her. All that information will be on here as well.
Mm-hmm.
Comment on this video, we can get back in touch with you. But is there anything else, Mary,
Absolutely.
that you want to tell anybody else before we close out?
I just encourage everybody who, if they need it, if they know somebody who needs it, reach out. I'm here, and it's so much better on the other side. No shame, no judgment.
I love that, Mary. Thank you so much. This has really been such an amazing interview. You are really somebody very special, and I know that
Ah, thank
you
you.
just have such a big heart. And I know it's a lot of it is the caring from being a nurse. I think that's how it is. You're wanting to hold somebody's hand to make
Mm-hmm.
them better. And that's
Mm-hmm.
exactly what this is for you. This is just a
Yes,
different avenue, but
yes.
still to me, health and wellness related and stress related, but you're still holding their hand. You're right beside them, getting them to be healthy, right?
That's
Just
that's what we do as
financial
healthcare
health.
workers.
Yes, yes. So I mean, that's exactly what it is. Mary, thank you so much for
You
jumping on
are
with me
so
this morning.
welcome. I enjoyed it so much, Amy.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you guys all enjoyed watching this. Mary is wonderful. Please reach out to her, whether you need the help or whether you know somebody else. This is something that is just, it's not something to put off till tomorrow, right? We've
Mm-hmm.
got to start on this today. It
Mm-hmm.
has to be done today. So please fill her calendar. Like I said, reach out to her, have the conversation. She is the perfect person to help you get financially healthy and debt free.
Thank you,
My name is
Amy.
Amy Gill. You're so welcome.